Are you finding yourself getting frustrated a little bit easier lately? This meditation is all about hopefully trying to reduce the suffering imposed by getting frustrated or angry, but it's also about just generally living in an environment where there might be a lot of energy or a lot of needs and wants and maybe some time compression. All these things contribute to frustration, and this meditation hopefully will at least alleviate a little bit of that. So let's get started. Thanks again for showing up here. Get in position, and as we watch these wispy clouds funnel over the mountainside with some quiet, serene music, you can get in position and close your eyes or not, and just watch the wispy clouds moving back and forth. And we really need to get in touch with our physical body, our ego self, our inner child, because they still have these basic wants and needs and desires. And sometimes, especially when our willpower to be acting in a very appropriate manner, when that guard lets down, the inner child tends to just pop out very impulsively. And so we want to get in touch with that entity, if you will, that essence, that energy, that impulsive energy. And we're not going to try to change it, because if we go in there and try to suggest to that entity that it needs to change, then it's probably going to fight back. Probably not going to go so well. So what we're going to do is simply become aware of the dynamics of why they tend to get frustrated, why you tend to get frustrated, and start to notice all the things that you have attached to perhaps some ropes, and you're holding on to all these ropes, these attachments to people and the way that these people behave, and attached to material things, maybe a house or a car, all the material possessions. Some of these you value the most. Those ropes are much more secure and big ropes, and you're holding much tighter to those. But notice that you're also holding on to ropes that have to do with outcomes in this life. And imagine in front of you is a endless pit, and these ropes extend over the pit, and it's a ravine, and it's infinitely deep. And these things that you're holding on to are pulling you towards the ravine. And somehow you can see inside this ravine that once you're starting to fall, it's a sense of failure. It's a sense that your needs are not met, your desires are not met. People are letting you down. There's fire in there. There's suffering. There's frustration. You just want to scream. But you're not in the pit yet. You're getting closer to the pit. These things that you're attached to are pulling you towards this pit of suffering. And just before they're about to pull you in, you realize that you're the one holding on to these ropes. And all you have to do is merely loosen the grip on these ropes. Thereby, you don't get pulled into the pit. In other words, you have a choice of whether or not these things pull you into suffering. And while you have these ropes, I want you to recognize that the ropes themselves, your attachment to these things, are not necessarily an evil in and of themselves. In other words, the ropes aren't evil. The ropes don't produce any suffering directly. But by holding on to the rope, it tends to pull you closer and closer to that suffering. So in the real world, it is important to have goals in mind, to have outcomes, to plan out your future, to have some expectations of how other people treat you, and to have connection and attachment to worldly things. It's the tension that you hold on to the rope. It's how tightly that you hold on to the ropes that determine whether or not you're going to suffer because of them. And let's go for a minute and think about a world where there is no attachment. There are no ropes anywhere in this world. There's just things over there. And how blissful that would be for the soul, how freeing that would be. There's nothing pulling you towards the pits. But at the same time, the chance of getting your soul mission and the chance of getting some satisfaction and some neurotransmitter of dopamine and serotonin releasing is going to be very minimal. So not achieving anything may not be suffering at all, in the sense of not being attached to outcomes. But at the same time, there's a general angst inside because I'm not getting anything that my soul needs me to get done in this life. And so these ropes actually become quite important to fulfill the reason why I'm here on this planet. But I have to watch how tightly I hold these ropes. Practice today, practice watching how tightly you hold certain ropes. Which ropes do you hold the tightest? Which ones do you have a very hard time letting go, or at least loosening the grips on? Which ones? And identify those. And look out for when you start to suffer, when you start to feel the sensations of frustration, recognize just how tightly that you're holding on to that rope. And you don't have to necessarily let go of it. In fact, you probably shouldn't just let go of it completely. Sometimes you will. And we have another meditation on letting go. But in this case, just relax your grip. Practice today relaxing your grip on all your attachments and see whether or not your frustration is reduced. If you'd like to stay in this meditation, simply press pause. I have a continued report here called the Project Co-Mind Report, and I'm going to bring us out of the meditation. Every day I do a Project Co-Mind Report which tries to look for the biggest collective influence, and today is August 1st, 2018, and it just happens to be a very big energetic day with some troubling aspects in the stars, and we're going to be talking about that next. But if you're seeing this at a later date, realize that you can still come back to the meditation that we just did and just listen to the meditation, but also locate your closer date and see what the latest Co-Mind report is, and subscribe to the channel and you'll get those latest updates. All right, we're going to start the Co-Mind report right after this. Thanks again for showing up. I am Chris McClary, nationaldreamcenter.com, projectcomind.com, and holy cow, we have a drastic change from yesterday. Yesterday might have been imaginative and fantasy. Not so much this today. We're looking at a lot of energy, a lot of yang energy. Some of you might have gotten up early and felt all this power and yang. Now, it comes at a risk, and we already talked about that risk, the risk of suffering. And so if you didn't listen to that meditation all the way through, I recommend you go back and really listen to that. Let's get started in the numerology. Let's just highlight this sentence right here. This is a high energy day, even if that energy turns out to be less than pleasing. Why is this? Well, we have our cursor here. We have the moon going into Aries, which is a fire sign. Now, the nice thing about this is conjunct with Chiron. There can be a lot of intricate things there, but in general, there's a chance, as my astrology gets refreshed, there's a chance for you to heal the old wounds, okay? While you're passionately living out these ego desires and needs and fulfilling those needs. But what a lot of people are talking about is the aspect between Uranus squaring Mars in retrograde. And this tends to be a lot of, it could be conflict, could be some accidents, but it also could just be yang energy that's pent up and frustrated. Okay? And that's what I'd like to highlight there in the astrology, not to mention the sun in Leo, okay? Some more yang energy. This is the Dreambot run. This is the list of all the words that were appearing in the collective dreams. And we start off, this is August 1st, clock. Time is ticking, and that can be a compression on and causing a lot of frustration. But we have all the other red arrows that are connected. Let's look at those. Growing, truck, mean, and mean can mean two things. It can represent something, or it can be you're angry and mean and frustrated. So I took it in that context. We also have toward, that's moving forward, running, man, male energy, yang, emerging, struggling, and engine. Engine is go, go, go. So it's a yang day, folks. And if you're not aware, if you don't stay aware of these energies, then, and mostly, and aware of your reaction to those energies, particularly maybe when people aren't performing the way that you expect them to perform, or the outcomes aren't happening the way that you envisioned them to happen, it's going to get frustrated. And with the clock in the people's dreams, tend to think that, yeah, the clock is moving and I don't have enough time to maybe get all this stuff done. And so that could be frustration too. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and click the notification panel so you can get notified of new videos, new updates. And I really appreciate, from the bottom of my heart, the support that we're getting. It's been profound, and I look forward to continue growing in this work. And I'm benefiting tremendously through this, and I hope you are too. And have a great day. We're the National Dream Center, healing the collective psyche one mind at a time. Let's see if I can hit the stop button correctly.